What can you tell us team news?
I can't tell you anything around selection other than we'll go through that once we get through training today, and we'll pick our side and see from that. But it's pretty obvious. I mean, we've been pretty open all the way through with what we expect. We've played most of the players that we expect to be amongst the mix for this game coming up, and there'll be some new people, but we won't confirm any of that right here, right now.
Of the new, who's the most impressive that's really front of mind?
So I can't talk about that now because I'm not going to talk about the new, because if I mention a new...
Yeah, but there's some guys who've been really impressive in the pre-season.
Well, we think Lukosius and Richards have done really well and grown into our club in their first time here, so we're excited by what they might be able to do, and hopefully once we get through today's training and they get through well, which is always I don't like talking about it because we haven't got to that point just yet, so we'll be happy with the team we put out there, no doubt.
What did you like about Joe Berry? What have you liked about Joe Berry?
Lots. He's come in and done really well. He's, as has Tommy Cochran, other young first-year players, and Jack Whitlock. I've loved lots of things around him. Christian Moraes. We've been really lucky with our our first-year players this year, and I'm really excited by. I think all of them at some page will probably get a taste of AFL footy.
What about Joe what of his qualities sort of makes him ready to, if it's not this week, have played?
We've seen him for 3 or 4 months train and the way he goes about it, but we've also seen his TAC Cup year, his under 18 year, and what he was able to do at the highest level. And look, I think we've already seen young players come in and always have an impact, and you'll see it over this week with the full round going on. There'll be so many young players getting games, and it's bloody exciting for the competition, I reckon, when you see youth come into the teams.
So Kim, what is new is you don't have Charlie Dixon as such a major focal point here. So what do you expect of what it looks like before the centre from here on?
Yeah, it'll be probably maybe a little clunky even at different times, particularly early, but we're learning our way through that, and we're educating ourselves as much as we are the people on the outside. So it's going to be a little bit interesting to see how it works. It'll certainly be slightly different. There's no doubt. Charlie's was a unique person and great player for our footy club, but we look forward to what the new looks like, and we're about to find out under real pressure on Saturday night.
Have you decided if it's going to be 2 or 3 tolls at the moment? So far you've been probably going with Jack and Mitch out there.
No, we haven't. No, we haven't convinced ourselves just yet, because we haven't had match committee properly. So we'll sit down and have those conversations. As we've seen in our last game, we played Soldo and we played Sweet together. We like the look of that as well. So there's some things to still consolidate before we confirm that.
Collingwood's probably a guy we all would have expected to come in and take Charlie's spot. I mean, what's his pre-season been like from your perspective? It seems like it's kind of an interesting one.
It's had some challenges for him because we've had to use him a lot of the time in ruck roles, and same with Jeremy, we've had to use him in different roles. So. But Ollie's had a pretty good pre-season. He's building really well, and we look forward to the opportunities that he'll get this year.
How close is the starter?
Well, he'll get some minutes on the weekend in our sample game, in our sample trial, so I can confirm that part, because he won't be quite ready to play an AFL game at the capacity you need to do for full 4 quarters. So he's coming along really nicely, which is pleasing.
CD touched on at the end of last year that small forward was an area that you're looking to target. Obviously, we saw that in the recruitment. Without saying who you're going to select, how much more difficult is to select between the group of small forwards you got from last year?
Well, there's some great stuff happening. Pep's coming back. Darcy's playing his 200th game, so we should acknowledge that here and now too. As what a great player that Darcy's been for us, and he's come in and played pretty much almost every game that he possibly could, bar 2 or 3 times, and he's changed his career. He was an all-Australian halfback flanker, and I think he's might have kicked 2 or 3 in these last 2 games as a high forward. He's such a good player, and Pep coming back into our side. You talk about spirit and what they bring. I mean, we couldn't have 2 better role model players this weekend to reflect on and celebrate. One coming back from a serious injury and one reaching a milestone. That's pretty exciting to answer your question around our small forwards. And then we've brought some new people into the club as well to grow that. Willie Rioli, we're quite a damaging front half with our smalls now, which we've improved that part of our team, but we had some great people there doing their best in those roles last year as well. And we did make a prelim final. We weren't terrible.
So do you feel like you can hurt Collingwood with a small forwards? I guess looking from the game against GWS, a lot of people kind of remark that they look slow. Do you feel like that can be more slower than usual? Do you feel like that can be a little bit of
I know. I think we overreact to one game. I think Collingwood will be full of energy on Saturday night. They're at the G, they're in front of their fans. They've got some celebrations to their own that they'll be working towards. And the last thing I'd be doing has been pigeonholing Collingwood to anything other than they're a bloody good team.
You're looking forward to facing Dan?
I don't know whether looking forward to is the right word. He's been one of our favourite players for a long period of time, but he's now a Collingwood player. We move on. As Joey Richards is now a Port Adelaide player. There's a few stories in different areas, so we just don't want Dan to have a great day, and we'll do our best. And I think I've said that when Dan and I spoke last, was I'm going to wish you all the best every time you play, except for when you play Port Adelaide. We hope you have a bad day.
You've had players, former players play against you before. Is Dan going to be any different to them? I guess given the close relationship you had, how much he was held in high esteem at the club.
No, it won't be any different. It'll be the same. We'll treat them all the same. Dan knows how we respect our past players, but we also know that we have to move on, and we've been asked to move on by Dan.
Do you have an obvious matchup for him? Is there someone that can get under his?
No, it'll be interesting to see who Dan goes to. As much as anything, we won't be. The defender usually chooses where he goes more often than not. So we'll be interested to see where he goes. I'll be equally as interested to see where Dacos goes. Josh, will be Quainer. There's a few down there that I've got to spend some time worrying about. Not just Dan.
What about Nick?
Nick.
We said Josh Dacos.
Nick.
But
Nick Dacos.
You'd be mad not to tag him, wouldn't you? After what they've
Don't. No. We'll have to go through that, and we'll work our way through it. We know he's a great player. He's a star of the comp. He's unbelievable talent, and we've been told that plenty of times, and we've seen it. We look forward to the challenge.
Do you expect a response from him then? When a champion player like that is criticised and pointed at you?
I should ask you the question. What do you expect?
I would have thought so, but you've been around a lot longer than I have. Does that make you as a coach?
I am old, ain't I?
Does that make you nervous as a
Yeah,
coach?
of course it does. Quality players make you nervous, but quality teams. We're playing Collingwood. If I look through the predictions through the year and stuff, they're not missing the top four by many people. I wouldn't have thought from what it looked like. So this is a great team we're coming up against. We respect them enormously.
How do you feel about
Dan, when you coached him, what gave you the most discomfort was when the opposition put a defensive forward on him, or when they tried to attack through him?
Oh, it's not. Look, I'm not being disrespectful. I don't need to spend any more time on Dan. I think we've spoken about him enough, and he's now a Collingwood player. So we'll worry about what happens as a Collingwood player against us.
It feels like a lot of the narrative, not just from local media, but the experts, so to speak, has been around Adelaide and what they're doing and how well they've done. Do you feel like your off-season one that's sent some pretty good players come in has gone a little bit under the radar?
No, not really. I don't think that's not our job to worry about what's been reported. Our job is to worry about preparing ourselves the best we possibly can, and we think we've done that pretty well. We haven't had it perfect. We haven't had everything go the way we'd like it to go, but we've had most things okay. So we're ready for the start of the year.
Ken, how do you feel emotionally? Does it feel different because you know what the script is for you this year?
No, I feel really good. I feel really excited, to be honest, and I think and hope that's what my team feels too. Is that they're my team, and I feel like that. I feel like they're going to be really excited about this season and the opportunities that are in front of us. And for me, I'm just looking forward to round one, and every game that comes along after that, we'll celebrate that as well.
Who was asked about that? You obviously got fined comments from an opposition player last year. Craig gets a warning. Do you sense any double standard there?
No, I've got no comment to make about it. It's not my issue. I don't need to buy into it.
Could Finlayson end up playing the whole season as a defender?
Could he? Yeah, he could. Nothing's ruled out, but he could easily play there the whole season. And his last game there was pretty good, but he might not be there this week. He might be forward. He might be in the ruck. He might be on the wing.
It's kind of 100%.
Yeah, ready to go. No problems at all. Not one issue. When your players have training drills, little things like that happen. We move on pretty quickly. Connor's ready.